Peace and love, family. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Maat. Tonight, family, we have in the building a very special guest, Brother Bambino. This brother, you've seen him all over TikTok, all over the blogs, all over the internet, family. He's been going viral for a lot of the things that he's saying out his mouth. He's actually saying things that people want to say, but don't have the courage or the guts to say it. But before I bring that brother on, family, make sure that you thumb up the video, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up, and also share the video wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, share it. If you're on Facebook, share the link. If you're on X, right, formerly known as Twitter, post the link. If you're on IG, family, post the link. Let's get the views up and let's get the message out. Tonight, we're going to be having a very deep conversation about homosexuality, right? And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but let's have that conversation, family. It's taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's like the boogeyman. No, let's have that conversation. And so tonight, I didn't think to have it with anybody other than Mr. Bambino, because his brother, like I said, he says the things that we're all thinking, but don't have the courage to say. And so anyway, family, before I bring him on, family, make sure that you check out the MELTREK episode 3. All right, MELTREK episode 3 is now available, family. I'm going to share my screen with you. Here we go. MELTREK episode 3 is now available. Head on over to MELTREK365.com and get your MELTREK films today. MELTREK is an animation series that teaches Black children about Black history through the lenses of Black people. So we're teaching Black history from a Black perspective, Ashe. So family, make sure that you get tuned. Now, you already know what's going on in Florida, man. They're banning books. They're banning Black history courses. So, it's up to us to teach our children our history. And so MELTREK is definitely a wonderful tool. Also, family, make sure that you get your child enrolled in the UACI Summer STEM Camp. Right now, Black people consist of only 5% of engineers and scientists. And so we want to make sure that we're pushing our children towards STEM, that we're preparing them for a STEM career, because this technology in the next 5 to 10 years will be based on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEM makes the world go round. And so we want to make sure that our children are prepared for that future. So family, make sure that you head on over to UACI STEMcamp.com, UACI STEMcamp.com to get your child enrolled today. And also, last but not least, family, make sure that you get your son enrolled in the Asafo training camp. It's a camp that focuses on cultivating manhood in young boys between the ages of 12 and 14. All right. So our young boys out here and they're doing things and you all complain about it. Let's get them in the camp and keep them busy. And not only keep them busy, but get them in a camp that's helping them to develop their character, a camp that's developing their character, a camp that is developing their critical thinking skills, a camp that is teaching our young boys conflict resolution, a camp that is teaching our young boys self-defense. All right. A camp that has them engaged in physical fitness. And also, family, we are starting, family, this summer. We're going to have our first iteration of the Agoji Camp, which focuses on developing womanhood in young girls between the ages of 12 and 14. So anyway, family, make sure that you get your children enrolled in these programs. Again, go to MELTREK365.com for your Black history. Go to UACI STEM Camp for your STEM camp. And go head on over to the Asafo training camp for your young boys. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest, our brother Bambino.
I'm doing good. What's going on with you?
Hey, I'm doing fabulous on this good old Friday. The Beano gang, you said they are in the building watching on TikTok.
Beano Gang is in the building. Front
The
row.
front row. Tell the Beano gang, send my love to the Beano gang, man. Tell them I said what's up. I saw that you posted that you were coming on my platform. And I do appreciate the Beano gang showing me a lot of love. Some of your supporters, they started going to my page and checking out my content. So I want to definitely send love on over there to the Beano gang. So shout out to the Beano gang. So
Beano.
brother, let me tell you why I brought you on. So you've been going viral, right? I came across your a couple of your videos. I want to start with the first video. So the first video, and I believe that this video has over 1.4, 1.5 million views at this point, and you were talking about sagging, right? And I remember, I remember years ago, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, he brought that up. He was talking about sagging, and he was saying, like, who are you sagging for, right? You ain't sagging for the females, right? And so he said that some years ago. And then our great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she talked about sagging, and she said that sagging was a subliminal invitation for homosexuality. Now, this is an African-centered psychiatrist who made this comment. So hold on. I want to play just a 40-second clip, and then I want to talk about what you said and why you said it. So here we go.
We are developing epidemic levels of the effeminization of young black males. Well, I say the pants sagging down is just a subconscious invitation for homosexuality. You see, it's revealing the buttocks. See, so the pants are getting lower and lower and lower. The next step is to step out of the pants altogether. And so you step out of the pants, you're going to put on a dress. The black men are destroyed. Then the black people are gone. And we have a state of genocide. We are developing.
Now, this is an African-centered psychiatrist who
Mm.
said exactly what you said. Now, she's become an ancestor. She passed about 5 years ago. I believe it was like in 2019, maybe 20, it may be before then. But she said the same thing that you said. She said, wait a minute. She called pants sagging a subliminal invitation for homosexuality. So when you made your comments, and I'm gonna pass the mic to you, when you made your comments about it, I said, "Golly, this brother is dead on. He's dead on with it." So go ahead and share with us your thoughts about the sagging when you see the guys sagging and showing their buttocks.
I don't think that it's one woman in this world that goes out and see a guy and say, his butt. A lot of these men are wearing, not only do you have your butt out, but they're decorative. So you
Come
have
on.
Lego My Ego, you have uh, a frosted flakes, you have donuts, you have ice cream swirls. So when you think about our world and where we come from, you have boys that are just regular boys and like big butts. So if you are showing it, more than likely you're showing it to me, the person that's really looking. Women aren't looking for that.
Not at all. Like you said, you
No.
you never hear women say, "Oh, girl, I met this guy, and oh my gosh, he had a fat butt."
Mm-mm.
Women aren't wheel watchers. Guys usually watch wheels. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, she had it, but women don't do that. And I was telling my students that I said, typically when women look at men, we look at beards, right? Your face, your muscles, your physique. Some women pickle watch. I mean, it just depends, right? Like no one is really checking out your butt and your hips. That's
Uh,
something that men would check out. So what made you put that video out there? Because it's a reason you did that, right? You got online, you hopped online and you said that. But why did you say it? What was the
I said
motivation?
it because simply because you have people that be so quick to judge different situations and put different labels on things, and then they forget about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that in front of you, he may portray, gangster. I don't really like them. I don't want to do that. But over here with me, you got your ass out.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's kind of like more so just shedding the light on what's really going on in today's world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these women get in these situations and really not paying attention to the overall picture.
Mhm, mhm,
Why is it that you as a man, why are you even going down for one? Why are you even down that aisle in the draw section in the first place? We
mm.
can start there. Secondly, we can start with what man looks at a pair of underwear and say, ooh, these say Lego my ego on the back. Not the front. It say it on the back.
Come on.
So you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
very clear, but it's overlooked because it's fashion, it's style, it's, and those are the ones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you think that you think that a lot of sisters aren't really paying attention to the signs. Would you say that there has been, because even Dr. Frances Cresswell said in her video, she
Mhm.
stated that you see record numbers of this, happening. Would you say that you have observed that in an increased number of men who are doing this?
I'm gonna be honest. You have more men that's on the down low. I think you have more men that's on the down low and undercover than you actually do us gays.
Mm. So you think you have more undercover, down low brothers than you said than gay men. So you have it. So you think you see an increase in the number of down low guys?
Absolutely,
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Simply because a lot of people like to allow society to play such a big role in their household, and this is where I always say the transgenders come into play because I feel like people allow society to have such a big say so in their household on what a man should do and what he shouldn't allow and what what a representation of a man just is,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that it has set this tone to the point where if a man does want a certain anything, it could be anything that's out of the norm done to him in the way that society works today, a woman will simply just turn it down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I say that's where transgender women come into play, because a lot of people think that we all, but just because we come from the same world, we all talk to the same people, and we don't. You
Mm-hmm.
have guys that will want to fight me, but will talk to a transgender woman because she has the appearance of a female.
Yeah, female aesthetic. A female aesthetic.
Exactly. So I
Mm.
feel like it's just got a big part to play with society and what people allow to um what they allow in their household. You know what I'm saying? And then when you got people on the internet, exposing DL men, or
Yeah, you see a lot of that.
you see a lot of that. So if you got people exposing and tearing people down, and every time you look up, somebody got something negative to say about us being gay, you're never gonna want to come out because you know how your mother really feels about it. You know how your friends really feel about it. You know
Right.
how your grandparents really feel about it.
And then, like you say, your church, your church, your
Exactly. So
mosque,
you
whatever.
then
Yeah.
so a lot of women feel like they get the short end of the stick when in reality it's not him. It started at home because when you come from a foundation from where they don't accept you, you have to hide it. And
Mm.
that's what creates a down low man because he know how everybody else around him feels about it. So he suppressed it. He probably ain't never want to be with a girl in the first place. But he gotta please his mama. He gotta please his daddy. He gotta please his friends. Because all people do is, you know,
So let me ask you this. So you said that you feel like there is an increase in the number of download guys, not necessarily gay men. What do you think causes this increase? Do you think that there is an agenda that is out there that is being pushed? What do you think is causing this increase?
I'll say this. You have some of us who this is just me.
Hmm.
Um, for as long as I can remember, I've always just been the same way. I think that with the new generation and the new kids, it's something that is now pushed upon because
Hmm.
you're seeing a man, and nothing. Let me first say this: nothing is wrong with a man wearing a wig, or a man wearing heels, or a man wearing nails, or whatever they do. I never felt like nothing is something is wrong with that. me personally, I just think it's how it's displayed. So when we're talking about a younger generation who don't know what they want to be, but every time you look up on TV, you see two men kissing, same as two girls. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit, it's a little bit confusing. Or if you're a kid and you're growing up and you're seeing these transgender women on TV, and you growing up thinking that you want to be a woman because this is what you see.
Uh-huh.
And then 15, 20 years later, you're detransitioning because you didn't feel it in your heart. You did it because it was something that you seen.
So you feel like it's imposition. You think that as you think with the younger generation, you think that the media has a lot to do with why you see an increased number of younger people, participant practicing LBGTQ behavior.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
I
let me
mean, I
tell you
agree
this.
too. I
Let me
agree as
tell you
well.
this. Once upon a time, drag queen. Let me tell you, I want to say this first. Let me tell you how sensitive and the real definition of pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me.
Mm.
Because if you watched any of my videos, you never heard me say anything about trans until I made a two videos 2 days later. You never heard me address any trans when I said it, because and why I didn't originally say trans is because I don't fight that fight.
Right, that's not your battle, right?
That ain't even my fight.
Hmm.
We talk because I don't know what it feels like to wake up and wish to be a woman, or even not feel comfortable in the skin that I am. I've
Right,
never felt like that.
right,
Even with the dresses that I've wore, I've never felt like I was a woman. So I don't know what it feels like to feel like that. I was speaking upon men with heels and handbags and beards and mustache going into the public, going on TV. Billy Porter, for instance,
oh, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Hmm.
they're on TV. You're not even presenting yourself as a woman. I could have perceived it better because we got some transgender women out here, undeniable. I'm okay with that, especially when you're dealing with a kid that's my age. He's two, so he right now don't know the definition of a transgender woman, but he definitely can see the difference between a beard, a mustache, nails, and heels.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Let me ask you another question. So you said that you think that the media has definitely is a reason for the increase in number of young people practicing LBGTQIA behavior. Would you also say that sexual trauma is a reason for that? And let me tell you why I'm asking this. Let me tell you where I'm getting this from, and why I'm asking this question.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another psychiatrist, peace be upon her soul. I would say that she was definitely nurtured by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. So the first video I played was by of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who passed, I believe, like I said, in 2019. This woman, in my opinion, Dr. Patricia Newton, she was, I would say, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's protege. And I think Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, tell me up, guys, in the chat, when did she pass? It was either 2017 or 2019. But I know Dr. Newton passed a few years later. And she has talked about, she called it the root of homosexuality. She said it's sexual trauma. And she said that, and she was practicing for many decades right here in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that a lot of the people that she spoke to, a lot of her patients who were LBGTQIA, she said a lot of them told her that they had been touched as a child. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was making that connection that, that sexual trauma also causes the practice of LBGTQIA behavior. Let me let her speak for herself. This is a 2-minute clip. Here we go.
Well, it's interesting because we had a conference here in 2013 over at the Hilton in Baltimore called Early Sexual Trauma in the African American Community. And we brought scholars from all over the country. It's unfortunate that many Baltimoreans did not attend, and we also brought in the brother that did the film Wolf, Brother Yaki, who did this film on sexual abuse in the Black church. And it was an awesome, awesome experience. And so what I said was that in the African American community in Baltimore, as well as other cities, and that's been replicated by other data, that we have an issue that is going unaddressed, and that's the trauma that our children experience physically as well as sexually. And that with my own research that was going on for many, many years, almost 2 decades, in this town, we had almost uh, 8 out of every 10 African American women and almost 7 out of every 10 African American men in Baltimore City had been molested as children. And that means that it's a public health problem. That means that it is normative if you were born in Baltimore to have been molested.
Wow.
How sick is that? But it's not just Baltimore, so I don't want to single out Baltimore. I was talking to one of the doctors out in LA who works at a HIV clinic, and he was telling me that 80% of everybody that comes to his clinic had talked about in the Los Angeles Watts area that they had been sexually molested. So this goes back historically to the experience that our ancestors had on the boat, in the dungeons, on the boat, and then once they arrived at the plantations. So this has been ingrained into the culture of our people. And when we start looking at the data about, nowadays you're seeing that, um, some people are saying that, pedophilia is a normative part of it, life existence and all of that. It is not normative.
No.
It is historically true that it occurred, but it is not normative. And it does create dysfunction and disunity and detriment to a developing young neurological system. We can't ignore that. We may want to ignore that for whatever all of our sexual gratification needs are, whatever we perceive them to be. But the reality of it is that you don't traumatize children in that way and not expect some damage. You superimpose that upon the historical trauma that we as an African people have had for centuries, and then you add this new insult to injury. You've got 1 and 1 equaling 10, not 1 plus 1 equaling 2.
I think
So she talked about that, and she was saying that she also believes that that is a root cause. She said that she treated over 6,000 patients and who were LGBTQ people. And she said that she used to ask, have you ever been, touched? And she said it got to a point where she stopped asking, have you ever been? And just started saying, who touched you? You know, and so, what are your thoughts about that? So, you mentioned media. Would you say that sexual trauma also plays a part in that?
I think that is like my number two most hated question.
Oh, sorry.
No, no, not. I'm gonna tell you, as a gay black man, because a lot of people resort to that, and I hate this question the most, but I love it the most because if something happened to you so trauma,
Mhm.
you're not gonna keep doing it. Okay, and I always like to ask people, even when sometimes you are doing things and it come and it goes sometimes where it ain't supposed to go. Most women say ouch, and I'm never doing that again. You don't go back and try it because it happened. Okay,
Vino.
so you remember those people that I told you about that do the bashing, and then it makes the people down low and uncover because they're afraid to come out?
Right.
Keep in mind, we got them same people living in denial.
Mm-hmm.
Since I came out the womb, I've always been like this, feminine, talk with a list, always carry myself the way I carry myself now. One thing about us as a LGBT community, we can smell when another one of us is in the room with us.
Oh yeah.
So we're preyed upon from people who had to live in denial and couldn't be who they wanted to be, and it was done to them. That's why we're preyed upon, because they see who they once were. They see them in us.
Mm.
They already know who we is. If something happened to you so traumatic, would you keep doing it because it happened that one time? If something happened to you like that, you're never going to do it again.
Or let me say this, because I actually have a few female friends that this has happened to. They were raped. Oh, I don't know what happened to his phone. But what I was getting ready to say, because he's joining live and hopefully he'll be back in. I did have, a couple of female friends, not raped. They were raped or molested. And what ended up happening is this. I believe, and I'm not a psychiatrist or I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychiatrist, but I think that, and I understand where he's coming from, and I agree with him to a certain degree. But then it's also this side where you have, so for example, and I'm being candid about my friend, she was molested and by a male, an older male, and what ended up happening to her was that it wasn't that she no longer wanted to be with a male. What ended up happening to her was that she ended up becoming extremely promiscuous. So I think it could work both ways, right? Like it could be a thing where you shut down completely from that which violated you, or it may arouse. I don't want to use the word arouse. It may trigger something in you, and then you become over sexualized. Does that make sense, guys? I'm just putting it, just let me know in the chat if you understand what I'm saying to you. Like either you can say, well, no, I'm going to stay, completely away from this, or because now I've been exposed to this, I may be I may gravitate to it more. You understand? And it may go from one extreme. So I think it's extremes that may take place as well. So I hear what the brother is saying. I hear exactly what he's saying. And hopefully he'll be joining back shortly. I don't know. I know he was joining from his phone. So hopefully he hops back on. Let me see. I'll let him know we are. Okay, there we go. So yeah. So I think that it could, trauma acts out in different ways. And I wish, shout out to Dr. Asar Winkler. He may be watching, but I wish he was on here or would join to talk about that. He actually wrote a whole dissertation on trauma, but sometimes it can happen like that as well. So I do agree with Brother Bambino that on one side you may have that, you may stray completely away from that which violated you, but on the flip side you may gravitate towards it, right? And I actually know somebody that has happened to as well. And so I think that trauma is a finicky thing, man. And it is, I think it's a sort of like a case by case sort of thing. Another thing that I wanted to ask him, and like I said, hopefully he'll be joining back here soon. But another thing I did want to ask the brother was about Sesame Street, Billy Porter. And so this has been showing up. This has been going viral in the media. Billy Porter was seen on Sesame Street. And I don't want to play a lot of it because they'll end up flagging my video. But Billy Porter was on Sesame Street and he was singing in a tuxedo gown and dress. And so let me play just a couple of seconds of it so you guys can see what I'm talking of. So, family, I saw this clip, and I actually got put on to this clip when I was looking at Brother Bambino's TikTok page, and I saw the clip, and he mentioned this. He was like, "Yeah, I was watching, Sesame Street with my son," and he mentioned that he saw this imagery of Billy Porter in this tuxedo gown singing with Sesame Street. Particularly he mentioned Elmo, but I couldn't find a clip with Elmo, but I was able to find this clip right here. And so he was very perturbed when he saw this clip. And he's back right now, family. I'm going to add him back to the stream. Brother Bambino, I was just talking about I was just talking to them about your next clip of that went viral when you were going at Billy Porter,
Yeah.
about Billy Porter wearing the dress. And so you were like, look, you were like, man, Billy Porter, I had to cut the TV off because you was like, I have a son. And you were like, I don't want my son to see, a guy with a beard and heels and a dress parading around. So
Mm.
tell me your thoughts on that. Walk us through what was going through your mind when you saw that flash across the screen while your child was watching it.
Well, I was in here cleaning up one day,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the voice because he's from my world. And at first, I thought it was my TV because when it comes to my kind of shows like that, I watched them downstairs. So when I heard it up here, it was alarming to me. I peeked my head in there. He got on the blouse at the top. I mean the tux at the top and the gown at the bottom and heels on. My thing is this: be who you are. I've never not said. And the biggest thing that was wrapped around this was self hate or I don't love myself
Oh,
or
I'm gonna get to that video too.
like be who you gonna be. That never was what was my standpoint. When it comes to the kids, when we talk about boys and heels and stuff like that, we talking about drag queens. Okay, that was an underground thing. That's always been what it's been. People did that at nighttime. You cannot take something that was for us people at nighttime. Nothing at nighttime is for kids. So to take it and put it in a cartoon or put it in anything that's for a kid, it's inappropriate. Because at that age, a boy should not be wearing heels. At that age, we talking about that age that they're showing it to, not the person that's wearing it. That's really the argument here. You can wear what you want to wear, but I'm never going to feel confident as a grown man pumping in no room with no heels on in front of no kids. Can't happen like that.
You sound like Dr. Patricia Newton. She said that before. She was just like, leave the kids alone. You know what I mean? Like, do what you do. Just leave the kids. Let the kids do what they do. Let the kids be who they are going to be. But leave the kids, out of it. And so I know that you were appalled and you went live. And like you said, you started getting attacked and you were attacked and they were saying you hated yourself. You self-hating because you're like, you don't expose your son to different things. There was another video of yours that went viral. You were like, look, I don't, I do what I do, but I don't do that in front of my son. And people accused you of self-hate for that. What are your thoughts about that? Express what was going through your mind when you actually started reading comments and people sending you messages that you hate yourself because you're not practicing your sexual orientation in front of your child. Doesn't that sound kind of sick? Because
I mean,
I'm not
wait, did
they
you
like
do you
didn't it
want to
sound didn't
do
it
you
sound
want to
sick?
know that's the craziest thing? Half of these people don't even have kids.
Right. It's sick though.
But do you want to know what I originally thought?
Mhm.
I said a lot of these people have been cooked in a pressure cooker on
Mm,
250 for 2 hours, and meat is falling off the bone.
mm,
Was the original thought.
mm,
The second thought was, I think that a lot of people anytime you got to put on makeup and you got on beard and mustache, you ain't comfortable. You're not confident. Anytime you can't wake up and just simply be the man that you are, it shouldn't take nails. Those are for women. Any man that's going to get their nails done, I can promise you they putting all thumbs on each. You know the thumb, the big one? The one
yes.
that one.
You
They
said they
put,
put off.
yes, yes, because they're for women. They don't
Right.
make them for
They'll
men.
make a big man fan. I got you. I
They
got
don't
where you
make
was
them for
going.
men's fingers.
Hmm.
A lot of those people misread what I said because they're so used to being the victim.
Mm,
And sometimes adults rather perceive things with sugar on it instead of taking it for what it is and saying, hey, This boy ain't saying he don't like me. He just saying it's a certain place and a time for it. It's what he's saying. It shouldn't be on cartoons. It's what he's saying. A kid should not be exposed to that. It's what he's saying. That don't mean that my baby don't get love. That don't mean that he don't get affection, because he gets a lot of love and affection. But to walk in the house and see two being laid up, cuddling, oh, kissing, woo woo, ain't happening.
Yeah, and you made a good point. You said, and everyone knows this, right? That children mimic what they see,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so if your son is sitting there watching you, right, kiss a guy in the mouth, then he's gonna go out and say, all right, and then like you said, it's all fun and games until he kisses your son in the mouth, and then you will want to hurt him and do something to him, And so it was crickets once you said that, right? Because
Yeah.
people say, well, you should do this and you should do this in front of him, but like you said, whatever you expose him to in the household, he's going to go carry that into the world. And when he carries that into the world, what will be the world's response? When, not if, but when that does happen, when he decides to act out what he's witnessed in the home. So I supported you 100% with that. Also, we live in a society, and I've noticed this, that people lead with sexual orientation. Why do you have to lead with your sexual orientation? Like, people actually lead with that. Like, I remember in my class, and this happened on two separate occasions. There were two girls, two female students, or both of them over the age of 18, made it clear to me. One of them said, well, I'm LBGTQ doc, and I mean, we weren't even like talking, like having a conversation about any of that. Like, we're talking about engineering, right? We're talking about engineering concepts, and she made the point to lead with that. Another one of my students, she came to my office and we were like talking, and she made it a point to lead with that. Why do you feel that people now feel like, and I got to be honest, I've never heard anyone lead with being straight. Like, I've never heard someone say, hey, my name is John, I'm straight, or hey, my name is Christina, I'm straight. But I've noticed that people that are LBGT will lead with that. Like, hey, yeah, I'm gay, I'm gay. Like, I'm just wondering, what is the purpose of leading with your sexual orientation, and is it necessary? That's my question. I mean, if you're not trying to get with the other person, like if I'm not trying to get with you, I don't think I need to discuss my
You know
sexual
what's so
orientation with you.
crazy? I'm gonna be honest with you. I would, the only words I could use for that is clout. Cause who business is that?
Right.
I walk in rooms and I shake a hand, meet a man. I don't have to tell you nothing about what I do in my bedroom. That's my business. I ain't got to tell you nothing about, if you don't catch it off of what you see right then and there, that's not your business. So I think it plays on insecurities, and for a lot of other people, it's that pushing it down your throat I'm talking about, wanting to be
Right.
seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be, hey, I'm in the room, and it's not always given that, hey, I'm in the room.
No, absolutely. So you said it's clout. You said it's
Definitely.
actually, yeah, it's clout. Because I'm just
Just
like, I
like the
don't.
people that was mad at me in the comments, it's clout, because if you challenge anything that I said on the internet, what can you say to me that is presented for our younger kids? Let's go with the theory that they love to say. Oh, you maybe you was touched or something like that. We got a whole nother batch or generation of those coming out, younger generation.
Mhm.
What is shown educational in today's world that you can learn from, that's positive from the LGBT community? There's not one thing that you see. Every 5 minutes you look up, it's a Truvada commercial.
Mm.
Truvada is explaining to you how you can lower the dosage of HIV down in your system, which is now making people feel that have that comfortable to still have sex with no condom. That ain't saying don't
Mm.
use no condom. That ain't
Mm.
saying don't let nobody nut up, do that to you.
Right,
Because
right,
for
right.
one, you ain't no girl. You can't have no baby. So why they doing that anyway? That's
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost. It don't say nothing about that. Or they promoting PrEP. PrEP is something that you're supposed to take so that you can not catch the disease, so you can have sex raw and not catch it. If they ain't came up with nothing for AIDS, how is you gonna take something with the confidence of saying it's gonna prevent me from getting it, and they ain't prevented nothing for curing it?
Mm,
It's nothing educational. It's to force it on people and make the next person from that community feel comfortable.
mm,
That's it. That's all.
mm, mm. And let me ask you this, and this will be my last question. And I know this is going to be, we're going to I really do want to unpack this for the last 5 to 10 minutes while I have you on. The trans community came after you because you were saying some things. It was a video, another video. Your videos always go viral. Another video, you went viral. And I'm paraphrasing what you said, but you were basically in the video talking about the attempt to redefine womanhood, like what it means to be a woman. It's like nowadays, it's like you're not it's like back in the day when I was growing up, when you was growing up, you're a woman, your man, whatever. But now it's like, no, you are a cis woman. So now the whole idea of what it means to be a woman is being redefined. And you got online and you were like, well, wait a minute. And basically what you were saying was like, look, I mean, you guys can mimic, what women do and what it means to be a lady. You all may mimic them, or try to emulate them. But the reality is you'll never be them. You don't know what it's like to be them. You don't know what it's like, to live like a woman. And you caught a lot of flack for that. You caught a lot of flack for that.
I caught tons of flack for that. Um, I want to say this. When it comes to, like I said earlier, that's a whole nother mental thing, right? Can I be a cis billionaire?
Mm.
Can I be I'm asking you, can I be
Right.
a cis billionaire?
Right. I'm with you.
Can I be a cis lawyer? Can I be a cis entrepreneur? It's either you are or you ain't. And I think it's unfair that when women, a lot of us, I seen a post where trans, because in our community, the trans who have breasts and who have work done, they tell the other girls who don't, you're not considered a girl. Like that's the thing. If you don't have boobs, if you don't have this, if you don't have face stem, if you don't got this, you're a girl, you're a boy. They will call you a boy. And I felt as though if the trans can look down on somebody from their community and say, hey, you're a boy. What is wrong with a woman who's actually a biological woman? You can be taught how to be a lady. You maybe can even take a class. But you'll never be no one.
Come on. Come on.
Dot com.
So how do you feel when people are saying, well, you don't have the right to speak, on this because you're not trans. So you don't have the right. You a black gay. What if, I'm just saying, like, what if so, I'm pretty sure you heard that.
I
What are
did.
your
I'm gonna be
thoughts?
honest. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mm.
I had so many people riled up about that. And they mad at the wrong person. Donald Trump is running. They finna be standing up pissing in a minute. They got bigger fish to fry than what Bino said.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get that when it's other bigger fish to fry.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No,
Come
absolutely.
November, if things go the way that it's looking, they're gonna be standing up pissing.
Hmm. Let me ask you this: just staying on trans. Do you feel like transgender, and I'm going like this when I say women, just so we'll know what I'm talking about. Do you feel like they should be able to play in women's sports and use the women bathrooms? Because I have an issue with that, but just want to know what your thoughts are. That you have these people, and it's just not even that these aren't even post transgender women. These are pre, so they still have their package. And they're now saying, well, because I identify as a woman, I should be able to play in women's sports.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. This is where I think that regular gays like me and just regular people in the straight community have something in common. When I speak of trans, to me, it's mental health.
Mm.
Anytime you wake up and when I say mental health, I don't mean it in a bad way.
No, 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 no.
Me or you don't know what it feels like to wake up and feel uncomfortable in the skin that you were born in. I don't know what that feels like. I
It
don't
seems like
know
it would be torture.
torture. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mental
So for
torture.
me, I think that transgender people are just different from us, but I don't feel as though you're a woman. But I do feel like they're human. I just don't feel like that's why you see a lot of the transgender women and the trans men having babies. Some of them ain't even gay. That's identity crisis.
Come on,
One
yeah,
one
yeah.
want to be a girl, one want to be a boy. That's the identity crisis. That's mental health.
Mm, mm.
So I think that that's really what it boils down to. I think that transgender for me, I think it's mental health.
So you would agree with what they had, and I think it's called the DSM-5. I think they call it gender dysphoria, when it's like you're confused, like it's some like gender confusion, or
So
no?
listen, let me tell you why I say mental health and like
Mhm,
seriously, when I
mhm,
say
mhm.
mental health, I don't mean it in a negative way.
No, no, no. Yeah, you said that.
I
Mhm.
mean it like something so serious that a doctor could, because think about this, we have a such thing as hermaphrodites, whereas people who are born with both. I've seen it.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
there's
Hermaphrodites. Mhm.
so it's a mix up somewhere where things can go left. You know what I'm saying? That's just like the people that don't feel like we're born like this. And I'm here to say I was. I think that it's just a screw up somewhere up in there that, you know, but I think that when it comes down to transgender, I think it's just mental health. You
Mhm.
are battling a identity crisis.
Mm. Would you say the same thing? Would you say the same thing about gay and lesbian, like gay men and lesbian women, that could also be mental health issue?
No, no. I'm,
Okay, I'm just
and
asking.
why I say that is because when you think about when every category that you try to, not you, but people try to make it an issue, far as mental health or parenting, whatever the case may be. I'm a gay black man and I'm way more successful than a lot of straight black fathers who have multiple kids and a wife. Some people say because I'm gay, you're not able to be a parent or a dad. And I'm
Mm,
more of a dad and a father and a parent than most black husbands and men in a heterosexual household. I, as a man, am what men's supposed to do: protect, provide, and produce. That's what they're here to do. It's a lot of straight men that I trump in those eras. So when we talking about bedroom business and what I'm actually am at the end of the day. I'm still a man. It's just what I choose to do. You have a lot of men that's on the down low, that is women's husbands, that's pastors, that's preachers, that's all that, and they're still fathers. There's stuff going around about Diddy right now that didn't stop him. The head that don't take away him from him being no father. They got to stop mixing bedroom business with the two. Rather that's mentally. I think when you have that identity crisis, it's mental. When you wake up and you born one thing and you ain't the other. But when it boils down to what somebody likes to do in their bedroom, no.
okay. So going back to my initial question, do
Hmm.
you think that the transgender women should be able to be involved in women's sports and use the women's bathroom? And I'm talking about the pre ones, the not even pre and post. What are your thoughts? So someone who's dressed up as a female walking into a woman's bathroom and they still got their parts. Do you think that is okay? Do you think that someone with the same muscular physique should be playing basketball or volleyball or football with biologically biological women?
No,
Okay.
no,
Well,
no.
but you were thinking. I saw your mind going. Your mind was going. Tell me
I
what you were
was.
thinking.
I'm gonna tell you why. Why? Because Bino is one of these kind of people. even if sometimes in situations, if you feel a little bit a different way, I always go with what's right, and I choose no, because at the end of the day, you're not a woman, and there's certain things that little kids are gonna see. But then on the flip side of it, I feel like you do have a lot of trans women. I feel like it should be something for them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, they could get their own category,
Yeah,
and their
I
own,
think,
yeah, their own sports, their
yeah,
own bathroom,
like a
just
trans lady, not I think even the women would be able to present it better if it was trans lady.
yeah. That's why I went. You notice why I went like this when I said trans, and I said woman, just so we know what we're talking about. But like you said, it's just yeah. And so I agree with you. Like, have your own bathroom, have your own sports. I mean, I heard recently, well, this probably happened maybe a year or two ago, but there was a trans woman who was doing mixed martial arts, one of those MMA fighters. And that transgender lady or transgender woman broke somebody's neck. Like that
No,
has
I don't
happened.
know. I don't know if you watch Now That's TV,
Mm-mm,
but on there, they let the trans women fight the weird women, like bust them in the mouth.
mm, mm-mm. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with going to the bathroom, and I don't agree with any of that, and I don't. And so anyway, I do want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with me and my listeners tonight. You answered all of my questions, and I appreciate that. Do you have any closing words for the listening audience? And also, please tell them in your closing words where they could find you.
On TikTok. And be no talks. And just far as closing statement, my thing is this: stay true to who you are. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what you choose to do in life or what you choose to be, you have to love you first. And that
Mm,
is just something that I learned overall, because if you always put you first, you're never disappointed. There's nobody to let you down. Um, and you're the only one to impress. That's how
mm.
I've gotten to the position that I'm in now. My only competition is me. So when I'm trying to be better and do better, I'm trying to be better than the old me last season. So,
Okay.
and that's just really it. Stay true to who you are, and keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing. Well, all right, brother. I appreciate you and I thank you from the
Thank
bottom of my
you.
heart for coming on. Cause I know I asked some really like deep questions. Like we went deep. We
Yeah,
went really deep. We went really deep. And so I do appreciate, and I want to let the people know that this wasn't like you didn't even have the questions. Like you just logged in. Like
yeah,
you didn't know what I was going to ask you.
yeah,
And when we talked, you were like, if I don't want to answer, if I feel uncomfortable, I just won't answer. But you were like, you were really open, and just like,
yeah.
yeah, just ask me whatever you want to ask me. And if I want to answer it, I'll answer it. And if I don't, I don't. And so, I really do appreciate your openness. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate your time, man. Time is very important. It's the most important asset that we have, and so I thank you for spending your time with us tonight, brother Bambino. I'll be in touch with you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Peace
so
and
much.
love. Tell the tell
You
the
guys,
B, tell the Bambino gang I said what's up.
see
The
you guys.
Bino
They
gang.
said what's going on.
I'm gonna
See
get ready to
you.
jump on your live after I get off my live. If you're still
Okay.
on. All
I
right.
am. I'm about to stay on for a while.
Okay, I'm gonna hop on yours. I'm gonna hop on yours next.
Okay.
All right, man. Later. All right, family. So that was a really, really good discussion, man. So if you didn't watch the whole thing, make sure that you watch it once it uploads, okay, onto YouTube. After I hit the in stream buttons, make sure that you go back and check it out. I asked the brother some hard questions, man. I asked him, does he think that homosexuality or LGBTQ behavior is it tied to sexual trauma? Was causing it? The media. We talked about sagging. We talked about all of that stuff, trans stuff. I mean, like I asked some really tough questions, and he did good. He did really good, and I do appreciate him wanting to come on and have this discussion. But before I head out, family, make sure you get your daggone MELTREK. Make sure you get MELTREK episode 3. It is now available, family. Make sure that you get it. They're trying to take our history out of the schools. That's what they're doing. They're banning books teaching Black history. They're banning courses teaching Black history. But you know what? I'm not even mad at the school system, even though I know that Professor James Small would disagree with me. He would say, Doc, well, our tax dollars, fund the school system. So they should be, they should integrate our stuff within the curriculum. And I hear what our elder is saying, but I also understand that yes, they use our tax dollars. Well, hell, they using our tax dollars for what's happening in Palestine, and we ain't got no damn say over that. I mean, so I do understand the argument that you're using our money, so we should have to say, we should be included. But the reality is we're not, and when we're not, the question becomes, what are we going to do about it, right? So if they're not teaching your history or our history to our children, then what should we do? We should be teaching our own history, and MELTREK is a wonderful tool to do that. And so we have MELTREK episode 1 available, which teaches our children that our history does not begin with slavery, but it begins with greatness. And we have that available in DVD format and digital download format on MELTREK365.com. We also have MELTREK episode 2, exploring the pre-Columbian Americas, where we talk about the Black and brown presence in the Americas prior to the arrival of Christopher Columbus. That's also available at MELTREK365.com in digital and DVD format. And we just released last week MELTREK episode 3, exploring the Ma'afa. So now we're teaching the children the origins of the transatlantic slave trade. And so we're dedicating 3 parts to that. And it started with the Portuguese, and that's what part 1 focuses on. Part 2 is going to focus on how African labor, right, enriched European nations and created wealth and power for them that they still enjoy to this day. So we talk about how it became a global system of wealth and power for Europeans and the birth of capitalism. That's part 2. Part 3 is going to focus on our heroes and sheroes that fought back. So anyway, here's the trailer for part 1 of episode 3.
There are many films about slavery told through foreign lenses. Now witness the full story from an African perspective. How did slavery in Africa begin? Who were the major players? Who resisted? Learn the answers and much more in MELTREK, exploring the Ma'afa, part 1, the arrival of the Portuguese.
Family, make sure that you head on over, man. Head on over to MELTREK365.com. Get your MELTREK, family. Get your MELTREK ASAP. It's released. It's out there. We have to teach our children our history. You see the website up, family. Make sure you head on over to MELTREK365.com. Get MELTREK episode 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to scroll down. Get MELTREK 1, 2, and 3 for your babies. MELTREK 365. And the reason why we call it MELTREK 365, because we trekking back to learn our history and our culture 365 days a year. So make sure, family, that you go to MELTREK365.com. And also, family, make sure that you head on over to UACISTEMcamp.com. Get your child enrolled in this virtual STEM camp ASAP. We only have 30 slots 30 slots. The camp starts, let me scroll down. This camp starts on July the 8th. So, family, make sure that you get your child enrolled as soon as possible. All children will receive a Google Chromebook and a STEM kit. Okay, and they'll be on with us from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks. So head on over to uacistemcamp.com and get your child enrolled today. Last but not least, family, make sure that you head on over to the asafocamp.com. Let me put this in the chat as well. asafocamp.com. This is a week-long character enrichment program for young boys, Black boys specifically, between the ages of 12 and 14. And our boys learn, hold on, let's scroll down here. Let's scroll. I want to give you a visual. So it's character development, critical thinking, physical fitness, self-defense, and more, family. So you want your boy, I don't care where you are, you want your son, I don't care if you're in the DMV area, wherever you are, come down to Baltimore, kick it with us for a week. Get your son enrolled in this camp ASAP. We're only taking 20 boys, 20 boys. Okay. And people are enrolling right now. The camp is free. Let me say that again. The camp is free. So make sure that you get your son enrolled today. All right, family. I am out of here. Let me hold on. Let me throw that up there. Safocamp.com. Okay, there we go. Head on over to the safocamp.com. Get your child enrolled. Get your son enrolled today. Family, thank you so much for tuning in. If you didn't watch the whole thing, as soon as I end this stream, make sure you go back to the archives. Watch the show, family. Make sure you thumb it up, and also share. Okay. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. Till next time, peace and Black African excellence.